Okay, why traditional ABM falls short? Okay, as I said, the traditional business development team and the sales team, they used to just wait for the form fills. Now, according to all statistics across industry, there's only less than 2% chances somebody, go ahead, comes and fills up the form. So there are thousands of prospects out there. Out of that, there are few prospects who have actually visited your site, but only even among those, only less than 2% of the prospect will actually go ahead and fill up the form. So under the traditional ABM, companies used to lose a lot of qualified leads and prospect because those leads and prospects were in dark. And they were in dark about their intent and signals, right? So by the time that the business development team or the sales team used to engage with the lead was already in the very late stage in the journey. So only if they want the software, then possibly they will go ahead and do a G2 comparison and then fill up a form, and only then the sales team used to get involved. But by that time, it's already too late, right? The companies used to miss a huge opportunity to create a relationship early on with the prospect, given the fact that the company could have figured out that the prospect is looking for their service. But that rarely used to happen, and the companies used to only get in action when the inquiry used to come in. And by the time, I sincerely feel that it was really too late, because they are just doing an inquiry. They are already aware of all the information. They are already possibly talking to a few of your competitors. So it's like a missed opportunity in many ways to create a relationship that could have been built if the journey would have started a little earlier, right? So traditionally, the sales and marketing were also in silos. So marketing used to just, there was always a handover process. The marketing used to run those performance ads and outreach, just send the lead to sales and forget about it, right? And the sales team used to just do whatever they were doing in terms of follow-up and others. And they were not real, there's no real coherence for a lot of companies when it comes to sales and marketing. And these two departments used to work in silos, right? And the campaigns were very static and rigid, right? The campaign used to take days and months to run, and those campaigns were very static and rigid. So those were the challenges of traditional ABM and why it was falling short, traditionally. Now let's talk about the shift. The shift is what we call as the ABM 2.0. Okay, so what is the major shift? So we are not going to deep dive into a lot of stuff here in the technicalities in today's presentation, but we're going to talk about some high level, mindset changes and the process changes that has happened in ABM in last couple of years. So there are few shifts, few major shifts that has happened, and I'm going to talk a little bit about those shifts. So the first major shift is from list-based to signal-driven. That means from campaign-based to signal-driven. Earlier, the whole ABM was list down a list of companies, 50 companies, 100 companies, 500 companies, find the decision makers, create a list, send the campaign, see who is interacting, and then go ahead and take the next step. But now in ABM 2.0, it is signal-driven. So instead of just blanket, creating a bunch of accounts and then just keep sending them emails, sending them message, we are also signal-driven. So instead of us reaching out, possibly we can build a system by which we will be able to identify the signal. For example, here are the list of companies who have recently hired CIO. Here are the list of companies who have gone through M&As and fundraising. Here are the list of companies who have started a lot of hiring recently, right? Here are the list of companies who have just purchased Salesforce. These are the signals. Now we have the technology and the tool set to find out those signals in real time. And then based on those signals, create the ABM strategy, right? So it's not about just, hey, make a list, send them email and see what happens. Instead, make a list based on these certain criteria and signals, see what's really going on, and then create an outreach, an outbound, which is very, very specific to their need and based on the information that we have. So list based to signal driven, campaign based to signal driven, that's a major shift that has happened when it comes to ABM 1.0 to ABM 2.0. The second is from reactive to proactive. As I said, a lot of teams, business development team used to just sit around and just wait for the lead to come in or wait for the lead to just reply yes to their outbound. So it was many ways reactive, right? But now there's a shift to going proactive. So now you can put up social listening, for example, and proactively listen to the social media channels on so your prospect talking about certain areas, or you can proactively listen to what really is going on in terms of hiring in the industry. You can proactively listen to which companies are getting funded in this fiscal year or this quarter. You can put up a signal as to what kind of jobs the company are posting, right? So you can put up all those signals and you can be proactive instead of just being reactive, right? And then the third major shift is recognition of invisible buyer intent. So earlier it was very hard to find out the buyer intent, right? For example, if a company is buying a new warehouse, it was very hard to figure that out. Maybe you have to just follow the company news and their social media, proactive, all the time, putting human beings to continuously monitor those channels in order to find out any news going on with respect to your prospects. Now, with the AI agents and the chatbots and all those, the agentic technology, you can continuously monitor the market, okay, and gather the information and recognize the invisible buyer intents based on your need, right? So these are the three major shift that has happened in ABM 2.0. Okay, so when you go from ABM 2.0 to ABM 2.0, ABM 1.0 to ABM 2.0, there are certain key traits that you need to see. The question might come to me, somebody like me, how do I identify that I am in ABM 2.0 as compared to ABM 1.0? So these are the key traits of ABM 2.0. So if you are taking care of these traits, if your ABM has these traits, then possibly you are in the present or in the future of ABM. Okay, the first is signal driven engagement, right? You have the ability, the tools, the automations, the systems to find out the signal and reach out to the prospect based on the signal and create an engagement. So all these systems needs to be in place. If you know all the signals and you're not reaching out to your prospect based on the signal and you're not able to personalize your message based on that signal, then you're not in ABM 2.0, right? Real-time orchestration. So all of these things needs to happen in real time. That means a lot of stuff AI agents and AI will do, and automation will do without human intervention. If you have the system which can do that, good. You're very close to ABM 2.0. Revenue team alignment, the whole process needs to be aligned with your revenue RevOps team. And now this new term has come up with RevOps, which is like a combination of the marketing and the sales team and the revenue team all together working together. So that alignment needs to be there in terms of setting the goals and ensuring that you are on the right path. Contextual personalization. That means once you have the signal, once you identify the decision makers, once you enrich the data, are you able to contextualize the communication, right? If somebody is going through a funding round, can you contextualize that information? And then based on that, can you personalize the outreach? That's the question, right? If somebody is just hired a new CIO, can you contextualize with that particular thing? If somebody is, I'm sorry, If somebody has just acquired a new warehouse and they want to, add more machinery and human resources to that, can you contextualize with that particular information that you just got? So that's very important. So if you are not able to contextualize or personalize your outreach, then possibly you're not there yet, right? And then life cycle coverage. So you've got to understand the entire cycle, and then you see what it needs to take from acquisition to expansion. Okay, the whole trait needs to be mapped out. All right. So these are the key traits of ABM 2.0, because this question comes to me all the time. Hey, what is this? How do I know that I'm in the right direction, or I'm in the cutting edge of ABM and B2B marketing? So these are the key traits, right? Ensure that you have the system in place to identify the signal. Ensure that in real time you can create an engagement, an outreach. Ensure that your RevOps team is totally aligned with your marketing team and sales team. Is your outreach contextually personalized? Do you have the system in place? And do you have the life cycle coverage? So, can you go from the entire one life, from acquisition to expansion? Do you cover everything? If that is the case, then you welcome to ABM 2.0. You are in the future of B2B marketing.